My biggest winner of the week is the Baltimore Ravens. I said it when we talked about them. The fact that,
You had to do it.
no, it's not because it's not the fact to beat you guys. It's the fact that
You
they're
had to fucking do it.
well, it's the fact that they're 1-5. Their season's kind of on thin ice. You survived this week without Lamar Jackson. The defense is getting better. Now you're getting Lamar Jackson back. The Bengals lost and the Pittsburgh Steelers lost. Everything you needed to happen happened. The two teams ahead of you lost, and you won without your quarterback. Now you get them back. Now you make that run for the playoffs, the AFC North. You make that push. It can be done. This is All About the Balls podcast with Mark Davis, Kriska Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, and Nick the Doc Skirkwins. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mark Davis. That's Nick the Doc Skirkwins. This is an All About the Balls podcast, and this is our NFL Week 8 overreaction episode of this show. And Doc, the Bears had a big moment here with no Lamar Jackson to seize the moment to get to 5-2, and you guys lose 30-16 in the bank to Snoop Huntley, who ironically was wearing Joe Flacco's old number 5. So, Doc, 2 days removed from Sunday. How are you feeling now?
Not good, man. Not good. That's a game that should have been won from the start. It wasn't. Shouldn't even been close. I mean, shout out to the Ravens. They ran the same game plan that they do with Lamar, and that's what makes them successful. If you have a backup when your RB1 is out, you would want them to come in and play the same way and be able to run the same kind of offense, and they did that. And the Bears, struggling, missing their top 3 corners. I mean, just injuries all over the defensive side. It is what it is.
Yeah, and Doc, we're going to talk that game very, very detailed very shortly. I was in Atlanta this week for the first home game I've ever been to for the Falcons, and I got to watch an ass beating, and it was not the ass beating that I thought was going to happen. It was an ass beating that happened to my team, to the Miami Dolphins of all teams, unfortunately, 34-10. But, hey, Saturday I was at the bars, and I was watching Texas make a heroic comeback against Mississippi State. In Mississippi State, I understand.
Huge comeback.
Hey, man, people accept what they want. It's a big win. It's a big win in the SEC. I don't give a shit if it's Mississippi State or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're down big in the fourth quarter, and you come back. Arch Manning gets hurt in overtime. Caldwell hits arm receiver in the back of the end zone. Very good throw, very good catch. So Texas, hey, like I said, we got to win out. We got to keep going. We got to keep pushing. It's on the Vandy this will home, but off the Vandy as our next opponent. So, but Doc, we're here for a reason. We're going to talk the NFL Sunday and the NFL Thursday and Monday night game too. This is the first time since like 1970 something that one game with a minimum 8 games being played on Sunday was decided by one score or less. But that was also the only game. Out of 13 games, one game was decided by one score, and it was a late comeback by the Jets. It wasn't even a good game. It was just a good fourth quarter by the New York Jets. So, Doc, a lot of people are saying bad product this year. Are we looking like that going forward? Is this going to be a continuous thing, or is just, hey, man, one bad week, we'll move on to the next week, and we'll get more good football games?
I mean, it's a bad week. You're going to have more like it. This is the nature of the game. When you got 32 teams, you're trying to build out schedules years in advance. You don't know what the team's going to look like when you're building out the schedule. Just like college is done 5 years in advance.
Sometimes
I don't know
10
what the
years.
NFL is. Yeah, I don't know what the NFL is, but this is not something that they sat down on a Sunday in March and we're like, all right, let's get the schedule going. I mean, this is stuff that's been, and you see it with the consistent divisional play, right? I think this is the 3rd year in a row we've seen the Bears going up against the NFC East. So, this is part of the game. You're going to have bad weeks. You're going to have great weeks. I don't look at it so much as this was a bad week for the NFL. I think that this was an opportunity for good teams to come out and show. Obviously, we had some underdogs winning this week, but you see the Texans finally coming out on top of the Niners. The Eagles finally did what they were supposed to do against the Giants. The Bills, we saw a good Bills team that has had moments where they haven't looked so good. They came out and did what they were supposed to do. So it was kind of the best of, it's a rock and a hard place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not. I get it. I mean, I even said last week, I think it was Luke that we were picking the games. I thought this was the worst week of the NFL slate that we have seen through the first 8 weeks. I understand there were some bad weeks, but those weeks turned out to actually be good. I was not a fan of this week going forward at all. And I will say that the NFL going forward is not a bad product going forward. I think that some of the primetime games, for example, actually, if you look at it, if you go through the remainder of the year, week 9 through week 17, we don't know what week 18 is going to be for Sunday Night Football because that's division Depends on how the divisions look out. But not week 9 through 17, some of these NFL primetime games are terrible. And I get it. Like this Thursday, for example, Miami and Baltimore were supposed to be better. They weren't supposed to be 2-5 versus 2-6. I understand Miami sucks now. Miami had an easy schedule, we thought, going forward, start the season. So you have that. Then you have some bad games. Like you're going to have Seahawks Commanders. No one thought the Commanders were going to be bad this year. No one thought they're going to be 3-5. Then the Cowboys Cardinals. Okay, that one I can maybe see that you should maybe schedule that at all. But I think going forward, like you have Chiefs Bills this week. You have Vikings Lions. Even though the Vikings aren't the best, I think that might be an interesting game. Broncos Texans, Colts Steelers, Bears Bengals might be fun. And that Bears Bengals game, for example, that's supposed to be Joe Burrow versus Caleb Williams. So a lot of this you can't predict with the injuries, can't predict. I think the NFL's fine. I think, yes, it's a lot more parity also in the league. It's not like me and Riz were talking offline where you have your 3 or 4 dominant teams. There's good teams, and then there's average teams, and there's below average teams. There's not like the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Manning led teams anymore. It's you have Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, but those teams are beatable now. It's not like they're going to go out there and dominate every single week. So you have parity, which is what we prayed for. But now that we prayed and we got what we want, now everyone starts to get a little upset. So I'm not out on the NFL's going forward with the bad games.
I'm not either. I mean, dude, this is the nature of the NFL is any given Sunday. And nobody expected Miami to be where they're at, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Houston. In my opinion, Jacksonville is far doing better than what they were supposed to, expected to do from my expectation anyways. Kansas City's 5-3. Washington, like you said, the Vikings, even at 3-4, were not expected to be. There was a lot of hype around J.J. McCarthy. The Falcons, the Niners, obviously with the injuries they're dealing with. This is one of those things that you're looking at a bad slate of football games because of injuries. Now, when you're trying to schedule 32 teams playing divisional games, trying to get in their non-divisional games, you can't make a perfect world. You're never you're never able to make it. 13 games. What is it? Weeks 4 through 16 or whatever the non-bye weeks are. You're never going to be able to make perfect games. And yeah, like you said, primetime games are Thursday night. I go into Thursday night football expecting for a fucking snooze fest because that's just how it's been for like the last 3 or 4 years. Thursday night football has been absolutely terrible. Yeah, it's like,
you'll get the occasional ones. Yeah, you'll get the occasional ones here and there, but
yeah, we're gonna take our worst game. We're gonna put it to Thursday night because that's the only way we're gonna get people to watch it. And this is your slow. Hey, it's not gonna be interesting, but it's the only football you got. Welcome to the weekend football.
But like I was telling Luke last week, this past Thursday night was Chargers Vikings, and if you would have said before the season, was this an exciting game to watch? I would have said yes, because it would have been J.J. McCarthy versus Jim Harbaugh, his former coach versus former quarterback in college. So, like, the storyline's there. The Vikings supposed to be a little better than they were. Like, for example, this Thursday, Ravens and Dolphins, yes, they're bad records, but be honest, no one had the Ravens being – people had the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I mean, we had people on the show that had the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. So, no one had the Ravens where they're at now.
But even then, with the Chargers at 5-3, all right, the Chargers have not looked promising in their 5-3 start. There's been a lot of question marks, a lot of, what the hell's going on here moments with the Chargers. So seeing them come out and handle it against the Vikings, against a good Vikings defense, is like, okay, is this team finally going to come out and show until they come out next week and shit the bed again? So, I mean, honestly, it does. This is no different than, the expectations, I think, were higher for the Falcons. Nobody saw the Falcons getting blanked by the Panthers 30-0. Nobody saw the Falcons losing to the dog shit Tua this year that wasn't supposed to be dog shit, but Tyreek's. Dude, there's so many.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
there's so many variables that go on every single week, and you can't predict it. Like every week, and the fact is, not every single year there's not gonna be 32 great teams. You're also gonna have your playoff teams, and you're gonna have teams that are close to the playoffs. Like, and then you're gonna have your average, like your below average, and then you have your dog shit teams. So, like, you have
you're gonna have your Jets.
Yeah, you have your. Hey, shout out to the Jets, by the way. They won on the day. First of the morning, they found out Nick Mangold passed away. So shout out to the Jets.
Oh, that's tough. I was smiling. God damn it.
That was a very, very big win for them, Doc. But let's get out of this NFL bad product and let's actually talk about the games now. Let's talk the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll talk to Saquon Barkley and all the stuff that he did, and is he back? But let's talk the tush push. In the years past, I've not been a big component on cancel or getting rid of the play, as long as the defense can leverage themselves, where the linebackers can push the D line into the O line, just like the running back pushes the quarterback into the O line. But now we've seen it throughout this year. They're missing penalties on false starts, and they say, "Why can't other teams do it?" Well, because they call false starts on the other teams. I've seen the same call twice in one game, and then now. When Jalen Hurts, by the way, he got the first down, but he was not stopped. He's reaching to get more yards, and I believe it was Kevin Thibodeau yanks the ball, and they said they ruled him down for progress. But if you listen to the whistle, it was about a second and a half to 2 seconds after the ball was already stripped. So I'm now on the side where if they can't officiate this correctly and they can't get this right for this one team, it's not the other 31 teams, it's this one team. They got to get rid of this play or fire the refs and get better refs that can make the plays or the calls.
So you're not going to get rid of the play because there's nothing in the play itself that is
not the play. Yeah, I'm not mad at the play. I'm mad at the offense has. And I explained this to someone in my office because, and she's a football fan. She was like, "Well, it's like sports. Why can't you stop it?" I was like, "Because this is 80% leverage to 20% leverage. They can push into the offense or the defense, but they can't do it. And yes, they make stops at times." But when the play works 95% of the time, that is a huge disadvantage.
On a play where a team is lining up, so when tush push is coming, you know it's coming. They've never steered away from it. It's never been a trick play into something else. Where a play like the tush push is coming or a quarterback sneak, honestly, the quarterback, here's how I make it fair, right? The quarterback should have to announce an eligible straight up the middle rusher. So that way the defense can align over top of the center in the neutral zone and make it a fair play. Because what's happening is you can't line up over top of the center, right?
Nope.
So
and the guys at your knees, outside. By the way.
Right. So you got to stand to the outside and your quarterback can go straight at the middle. So right off the rip, you've got an open lane. And my problem with the whole thing is the consistency of the penalty calling. We've seen way too many examples, like you said, of the false start not being called, but it's being called around the rest of the league. And that's where I think the NFL is making money on advertising this bullshit, right? And then to blow the whistle, first of all, whether the whistle was late, whether the whistle was early, whatever the case is, forward progress has not stopped. And the fact that they couldn't review it and then they threw the challenge flag to review something else in order to trigger it and still stuck with the call is asinine to the NFL.
Because Kevin ripped that up. He ripped that out. He ripped that out clean.
Yeah. No, 100%. The ball was still moving. He was not down. There was still forward progress. Nothing was stopped. And we've seen it before where it's happened and it was kind of close. This one wasn't even fucking close. This is not and that's what I think the problem is that they're treating this play like it's an end zone play where you break the plane for a first down and we call it dead. And I think that's where the problem is. That's what the refs are looking for. When they see that, they blow it dead. This isn't the end zone. You don't get that same luxury of putting the ball across the goal line and getting that touchdown. This is whistle to whistle, start to finish. If you can't hold that, if you're going to stretch that ball out outside of crossing the goal line, even going up to crossing the goal line, right? But if you're going to stretch that ball out, you got to be prepared to lose it. And the NFL bailed them out.
Yeah, and like I said, I am fine with the play. It's just they preset the reason why the defense can't push into the offense is because it's a safety thing for the O-line. But when your O-line dives at the defensive line's kneecaps, that is hurt. That can hurt the defensive lineman. And I understand you can get hurt in football plays all the time, and that's fine. But you can't have a play where the offense can do something and the defense can't, because it's not truly 50-50. It's like other sports. I agree. And in basketball, the offense gets more leverage than the defense. In baseball, they were juicing balls and changing the stitching for the home runs. I get it. They want offense. They want points. They want a beauty contest, and they don't want always physical defense. It's okay to have it at times, but they don't want that. Now, I'm okay with the play. I just want good officiating on it. Because when other teams run it, and I agree, other teams sometimes run it very poorly. The Bills run it very poorly. They ran it poorly against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. They run to the side, which, by the way, Jalen Hurts doesn't always go up the middle. He goes to the sides. He even does fake tush pushes and goes back up the middle. So they're creative with it. I get it. It works for them, but it's like Jawan Taylor, for example, with the Chiefs. I get it. You can call false start every time on him pretty much. Maybe about 70% of the time you can call false start on Jawan Taylor. But Same thing with this. You got to call the plays. You have to call the penalties because it's just a huge disadvantage. If not, then this play is just it's truly unstoppable. Like, and it's gonna 95% is pretty much unstoppable. Yeah, that 1 out of 90 or that 5 out of 100 times, that's nothing. Like that's a great stat. I'll take 95% on anything.
So that's what my problem is that I want an opportunity for a unique play that has a high success rate, but I want equal opportunity to stop it on defense, and that's what we don't have.
That's exactly what we don't have, Doc. But now let's go to the game. The Philadelphia Eagles finally got Saquon Barkley was involved. 14 carries, 150 yards, big touchdown. He also had a receiving touchdown, 4 catches on 24 yards. No A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, 15 of 20, very, very good game, in my opinion. 15 of 20 for 179, 4 passing touchdowns. Doc, are the Philadelphia Eagles now that team should look out for? Are they finally back?
No, I mean, in this game, the Eagles did what you expect them to do. Use the run game because you got the best running back in the league. Top 3 easy, if not the best. The Eagles did what they do. They controlled the game. 15 of 20 for 179 yards and still come out with a 38-20 victory is you controlled the tempo. You pulled all the strings in the game. You called the shots. You had them out there. You're puppeteers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So the Eagles are on paper one of the best teams in the NFL. If they're not the best, they're easily up in that conversation.
Top 3, top 5, I'll give them that.
Yeah, but they've had some injuries. They've had some execution they've had some execution problems. They've got guys getting thrown out, on the first play, their second play of the game or whatever it is. And massive parts of the defense, not little guys, on the special teams. Your Jalen Carter's a big fucking deal. So, for Hurts to come out 15 to 20, 179 and 4 touchdowns, you executed where it was needed. And that's what's important. That's what the Eagles have been so good at, is controlling the clock, taking long drives, controlling the tempo. This is the Eagles that we have talked about before. And I feel like this is like one of the only times we've seen it this year. So it's nice to see them finally get back to this is where you go forward and look, this was the winning recipe. We've got to maintain this. We don't need to change up the game plan. We don't need to try to do some extra bullshit. We got to maintain what we know works and let that take us to the promised land like it did last year.
And I'm on your side there a little bit there. I don't know if the Eagles are 100% back by any means necessary, but I think when it comes to the Philadelphia's going forward, this might be the game that does spark them. It might be the game that does get them going forward. It might be the game that changes the season for 2025. Now, do they incorporate Saquon Barkley a lot more? That's the key. A.J. Brown was not there, but, they didn't need him this game. And this is now the Eagles, like you said, that we finally saw last year when they started off so bad and they went on that big run. This is the Eagles we're seeing now. Are they better than the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks? Well, they play the Packers and they play the Lions coming up very soon. So we're going to get a good testament on those two teams, at least with the Lions or the Eagles. But are they back? I think they're the NFC East favorite for sure. But I don't know if they're 100% back to the 2024 Eagles.
Out of what you said, if you're going to ask me out of those 5 teams who is the best, it is the Eagles. And it hurts me to say that because I fucking hate the Eagles. I hate Eagles fans. They're all assholes.
But I don't think there's a confident answer there because, and we're going to talk NFC. We can talk about it right now, actually. Let's just talk about it. Who is the best NFC team? Who's best NFC team right now?
It is the Eagles. It is the Eagles, but it goes back to what I was saying. You've got to run the game plan that works. You don't need to change shit up. You've got enough weapons on offense between Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley. Your backups are making plays like they could play as a first string on any other team. But
yeah,
you just got to find the open man. You got to let the play develop. You got to do what's natural and not try to force shit. Look, the Eagles are a team that can come out here, right? And I've talked before about how you got to open up the run game. It creates the play action, the passing game, opens up downfield. And I believe that in most situations because that's what football is. But this is a team that you can come out and have 10 yards from Saquon Barkley, and the passing game is there. You've got to find when you're going into a game, and this is where it goes back to any given Sunday, okay? some teams, like we saw what the Giants did last, in New York playing against the Eagles, and we saw the complete turnaround. I don't think Cam Scatterbo getting hurt made that big of a difference here. Okay. They're still without Malik Neighbors. They were without him both games. This is where you've got to come out. You've got to execute your plays, find where your weakness is, and you've got to exploit that. Sometimes that's on the ground. Sometimes that's through the air. But you don't have to try to force shit. You got to find out what works, and you got to make that. We've seen it, and you and I have talked about it with the Falcons with Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is a great game on the ground, making things happen, but they're just not giving him the ball.
No,
you got to feed the people. Right? If you're giving the ball to Saquon and he's got 12 rushes for 23 yards, okay, the ground game ain't working. So if they're stacking the box that heavy and focused that hard up front on the run game, you've got openings in the secondary. So adjust your game plan. But it's like there's times where you come into a game and you're trying to force shit that wasn't there to begin with, and you're coming out here like you got to prove, Jalen Hurts can throw for 400 yards. For what?
And I'll tell you this. That's why I don't think they're the best team. I think it's the Lions or Rams. I mean, we didn't even mention the Rams. The Lions have so much on offense. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, that best running back duo in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs is playing one of the best running backs this year. You have St. Brown, Jameson Williams. You have Sasala. You have Sam Laporta. And then you have a defense that's actually playing really feisty. And then you have the Rams, same thing. No Puka Nacua, and then Stafford has 5 touchdowns. And then you do have Puka Nacua with Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams. You're using your tight ends. You have a young defense that's playing very good as well. So I have the Eagles top 3, but I don't know if I have them above the Lions and Rams just yet because I haven't seen that consistency throughout the season yet. Now, can that change in a couple weeks? That always can change. It's a week-to-week league. We know that. And week-to-week league so far through 8 weeks, I don't have the Eagles above Detroit and Los Angeles at the moment in the NFC. I have them above the Packers. Even though the Packers are the number 1 seed right now, I have them above the Packers.
That's the problem is there's so much hit or miss when we talked about,
how
the Lions have looked this year. And I think the Eagles have looked more consistent than the Lions and the Rams. The big thing with the Rams is the injuries. Puka's a huge loss on the year.
He's gonna be. I think he's back though. I think he's gonna be back week 9.
Well, and we're gonna see, if they can, if the Rams can recover. But even Kyron Williams has not been the Kyron Williams that we've come to know and love. Couple of studs on defense, but there's been times with the Rams that have had me questioning things.
Yeah, I mean, they have. I mean, but Kyron has been involved a lot heavily in the passing game this year. I get it. He isn't the same Kyron Williams he's been in the past. I was actually trying to find. Yeah, he's 15th in rushing. I mean, he's averaging 4.4 yards a carry. Just his yards per game is a little down, 67.4. And he's still playing good football. It's just his touchdowns are down, his yards are down. But I think it's also his volume. He's not carrying the ball as much. But I'm not worried about that because Stafford, which we'll talk MVPs, Stafford's playing at an MVP level right now. So he's changing that. He's affecting.
He is, but to be fair, the Rams haven't played much this year. The Rams haven't played. They beat a Texans team that just now seems like they're starting to figure it out and come together. They beat the Titans.
Beat the Colts.
They lost to the Eagles, right? The team that we're talking about them going against. And honestly, the Rams lost that game, not the Eagles won. They beat the Colts. That's a huge win. I give them that because the Colts are the hottest team in the NFL right now. They lost to a banged-up dog shit 49ers team. And then, they held the Ravens to 3. Cooper Rush Ravens to 3. If Cooper Rush is in that game against the Bears, that's 40-3 for the Bears, no doubt. And then they stomped on the Jags. I haven't seen anything impressive. The 35-7 against Jags is impressive. I'll give them that. 35-7 against any team is impressive. But you still only put up 17 against a Ravens defense who was almost completely healthy for the first time this week against the Bears, which is the only reason why I give the Ravens credit for that win. And our defense is banged up and our defense is dog shit. But again, you lost to a Niners team that is fielding walk-ons on an NFL team. They're down to their 7th string in most positions.
Niners have been pretty solid still with the injuries, but we're going to find out. Like the Rams have some tough games coming. Detroit has some tough games coming up. Same with Green Bay, Philly. But Doc, let's move to the Kansas City Chiefs. One of our favorite topics every single time because, Rashee Rice is back for a couple weeks now. Patrick Mahomes, I understand he had 2 interceptions. One was his fault. I'll give him that. The one to Lattimore was his fault, but the one to Travis Kelce, that was on Kelce. That wasn't on Mahomes. I get it. Goes down in the stat sheet interception. But, Mahomes is back throwing 25, 34, 300, almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's out there running for his life. You got Rashee Rice, like I said, looking like a wide receiver 1. I understand short sample size in his career, but he's a wide receiver 1 in this NFL league. And the defense is playing good, Doc. The Chiefs, I'm telling you, should teams be worried about the Kansas City Chiefs for the season?
I mean, if you want my honest opinion, all right, the Chiefs are getting bailed. I know I've joked about it before with other teams. It's so obvious. The amount of calls that the refs immediately came out and ruled in favor of the Chiefs on the call, and then a review or a challenge or whatever came out and said, no, we got to go the other way on this. I mean,
only one went the Chiefs' way out of all the challenges, and it was the Zach Ertz one. The other ones went to the Commanders.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying is it went to a challenge where they're showing shit on the screen, and the NFL is like, hey, we can't bullshit this one.
Well, I'll say
my point though is how many of those plays that happened that the refs were immediately in favor of the Chiefs and had to come back and eat their words and go, yeah, we fucked up. We were trying to help the Chiefs.
I get it. I get it, but they didn't win because of the calls. That's the thing is they dominate the Commanders. And I don't think this year in their wins that they've had, in the season, you can look at their 5 wins, right? They start off 0-2. They dominate the Giants. I don't recall any big moments in the Giants game that the refs kind of got in the way. They dominate the Ravens.
I don't remember anything before this week.
Yeah, but they dominate the Ravens when Lamar got hurt. Yes, they lost to the Jaguars, by the way. And they beat the Lions. And I get it. People were all mad about the Travis Kelce catch. They're mad about the Jared Goff catch for a touchdown, but the rule for Jared Goff was cleared. That was a penalty. Unfortunately, I want the Lions to win, but that was a penalty. So, that is what it is. They dominate the Raiders. They blanked them. I don't think the refs really helped out, and they really beat the hell out of the Commanders. The Commanders beat themselves, I thought, in the first half with their turnovers. Debo Samuel hitting his face mask. I think teams should be working with the Chiefs. I understand they have the Bills this week and regular season Bills versus regular season Chiefs. That is what it is. They might lose, go 5-4. But I think going forward, the Chiefs are just going to be just fine. Rashee Rice opens up this team on the offense. The running game is starting to get it back to be a little bit better. Not solid, but Pacheco did get hurt. You have Mahomes running the ball at a good pace. And the defense under Steve Spags is playing good football. So I don't know if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl. I don't believe they win or make the Super Bowl this year. But as they're making the playoffs, challenging the Broncos and Chargers for the AFC West, I believe it's still in their reach. They can still do it.
Yeah, I think you've got to be worried about the Chiefs because the defense is phenomenal. The problem with the offense is consistency in the run game, consistency in Travis Kelce. Rashee Rice is back, so you're hoping that it's going to get better.
I don't think Kelce, the problem with Kelce is, I hate to cut you off, people got to stop thinking Travis Kelce of 8 years ago. If you look at his game log,
that's not even. It's Travis Kelce of 2 or 3 years ago.
But if you look at his game log, 4-47. I'm sorry, 2 of 47 a touchdown week 1. Okay, slow start. 4 of 61 did have the drop that led to the interception. 4 of 26, 5 of 48, 7 of 61 for a TD, 6 of 78, 3 of 54, and then 6 of 99 and a touchdown this past week. He's been pretty good really since the Ravens game. So it's not like I'm saying he has to go out there and be prime Travis Kelce. He's playing at his age a pretty consistent pace. That's all he needs to be.
The most successful teams, you don't need a guy to go out there and be the guy. You just need everybody to do their part, hit the open man. Your running back get around the offensive line and the defenders, hit the cut. You don't need a guy to be great. No, it's when you're trying to lean on a guy too hard and he's not being great is where you start having problems.
But I don't think they're going to have to lean on Travis. They're not going to have to lean on Kelce, though.
No, the Chiefs have between Rice and Worthy, and I forget who, Thornton?
Hollywood Brown. And
no, not even Hollywood Brown. Is it Thornton?
Thornton's out there, but now that Rice has been back, it's been Hollywood,
I know, but
Juju.
they got to get Thornton's a weapon. They got to get him more involved.
But Thornton and Worthy are the same type of receiver, and they're going to use the Worthy because of the first round selection.
I get that.
I know. I'm just saying they're not going to use Thornton though.
You can still spread the field a hell of a lot better.
But they're using Brashard Smith a lot in that kind of like a utility role too. He's the SMU running back from the rookie this year. He looks pretty good when he's out there. But
I think you do got to be worried about the Chiefs because they have the defense playing so well. They got a lot of weapons. And again, I'll go back. It doesn't matter who you're putting on the field. Patrick Mahomes going to make him a star.
And he looks good this year. I understand. Like it didn't.
He is phenomenal. I didn't realize that he was like. I've been watching him play, but I haven't looked at his numbers game by game every week. But my God, the guy's putting up numbers.
He missed throws early in the year. I'll give him that. But really, since the first couple weeks, he's found his rhythm. And they're looking like the old Chiefs. They're throwing the ball down the field again. It's not this nickel and diamond shit and running the ball. It's actually going down the field. This is what makes us so excited. I mean, at least me, I like this Kansas City Chiefs team. I like the old Chiefs where they're doing backyard bullshit. This is the Andy Reid Chiefs that we were liking when Tom Brady was on the Patriots and we're rooting for them to win. I understand they have the whole they're the new dynasty. They have the Taylor Swift bullshit, the Brittany Mahomes bullshit. But you put all that stupid shit aside and you watch them on the field. This is starting to look like the old Kansas City Chiefs, and that's what makes me excited as a fan. I mean, I'm looking at the old style Kansas City Chiefs again.
No, 100%, because there was a lot of talk early on in the year of Mahomes' completion percentage on the deep ball since Tyreek left, and he's been taking the shots, but also to his discredit, he has been missing ugly.
He did. He did.
He's starting to connect a hell of a lot better. He's finally getting into that Patrick Mahomes groove. And again, now this is a lot later in the season than you would expect. You expect this week 1, week 2, maybe week 3. We're now here in week 8, and we're finally starting to see the pieces come together. So it's nice to finally see it happen, but let's see if we can carry the momentum.
Doc, let's move to the Bears and Ravens. And let's start with the Ravens. We'll talk Bears second. Let's talk the Ravens real quick. They go in the game here, and they're 1-5. 1-5.
Yep.
And Lamar was potentially going to play. It looked like he might have been playing. And then they announced that not Cooper Rush, but Snoop Huntley, former Pro Bowl quarterback, wearing Joe Flacco's old number, comes in and, hey, man, what a game for Snoop Huntley. Had a great game. And I'm going to ask this because it looks like Lamar's playing against Miami Dolphins. Did this save the Baltimore Ravens season? Are they on their way on the road to maybe win the AFC North because the Steelers lost and the Bengals lost?
No, I mean 1-6, 2-5. It's a 1-game difference. If Lamar comes back and you're 1-6, you come out win out the rest of the division, win the rest of the season. You still got a very high chance at a Pro Bowl, or not a Pro Bowl, a wild card spot. I don't think the 1 game makes a difference on saving the season. I think it definitely builds some momentum going into the bye next week, and then.
Well, they already had their bye.
Whose bye is this week?
So they're 2-5 now. So they came out of the bye and they played you guys. Now, let me break it down. They're at the Dolphins, at the Vikings, at the Browns, home for the Jets, home for the Bengals. Probably still no Joe Burrow that game.
They're winning.
Home for the Steelers, at the Bengals, home for the Patriots, tough game, at the Packers, tough game, at the Steelers, always tough in Pittsburgh. But with Lamar back now, because Lamar said he's probably back. I mean, as long as he's healthy, Doc, they might only lose 1 or 2 games. I think 10-7 can get them in. Maybe not the division.
Well,
now I think they can win the division if they win out. Maybe even lose 1. 11-6 can still do it.
How many games Lamar been out, not including the game against the Bears?
He got hurt in the middle of the Chiefs game, but that was over when he was playing. So he missed the Texans, Rams, Bears. They went 1-2.
So then he missed 2 games before the Bears. So he was 1-4.
He was
including the Chiefs injury game that you said was already over.
1-3. He was 1-3.
But the Chiefs game was 1-4, right?
No, 1-3. They lost to the Bills, lost to the Lions, lost to the Chiefs, and then they lost. He got hurt in the Chiefs game. They played 3 games without Lamar.
Okay. So,
and the defense looks better though. The defense they play good against the Rams. They play good against the Bears.
The defense is getting healthier. So that's my point. Is that yes, Lamar coming back is obviously you can't. It's a huge piece of the team.
He's one of the best.
I'm not saying he's the best in the league.
We can talk his playoffs all we want to in January, but when it comes to
we're gonna.
We'll get there in a couple months, but regular season Lamar is a different breed.
Right. The problem, though, is not Lamar's injury status and whether or not he's playing. Obviously, it's tough to win without him. But the problem before Lamar got hurt was not Lamar, it was the defense. It was all the missing holes on both sides of the ball. So if this team can come back and remain healthy, Lamar comes back, yeah, they've absolutely got a shot. But if they start getting hurt again, they start running into issues. This team's got the pieces. Defensively alone, this is like, the Bears and the Ravens are historically, and the Steelers, historically great defensive teams in the NFL. The Ravens, they have Lamar. They have, honestly, as much as I love Zay Flowers, I'm becoming less and less convinced that he's a wide receiver one.
He's so weird. Like, he has these really good games. Like, he had a good game against the Bears, but then there's where he's quiet. It's just, I don't get it.
And that's the other problem, is the game plan and how he's getting involved. And this goes back to Harbaugh and the problems he has coaching. Zay Flowers, I think, has the potential to be a wide receiver one, but we haven't seen the consistency for him to do it. I am convinced if he goes to most NFL teams around the league, he's not a wide receiver one, just because of the lack of consistency in the numbers and everything. But last year we saw the issues with Mark Andrews until late in the season. So it really comes down to, you've got a quarterback, you've got a running back under center. All right, you got a running back under center, Lamar Jackson, that also is able to throw the football as a secondary option. So if you've got a wide receiver one in Zay Flowers that can get open, you got a tight end one in Mark Andrews that can catch the ball. Isaiah Likely, I think he's still hurt, or he may not be. I'm not really sure.
I haven't really seen him. I think he's out there, but I haven't really seen much of him.
Yeah, I think he's still out, if I'm not mistaken. But if you've got the guys, Bateman made a great catch against the Bears. Bateman has potential. If you can get the right guys in the right situations and hit the open man and do things, this team can absolutely fight back, claw back, and find their way into the playoffs and, get knocked out of the first round again. But they can definitely find their ways into the playoffs.
Now let's talk the other side.
My point, though, is that I don't think it's solely rests on Lamar. There's so many other issues that have been going on with this team, not to shit on the Ravens, but like injuries. There's a bunch of other things. Harbaugh making terrible play calls. What was the stat? He's like 1-17. I forget what it was. We talked about it. But it's moments like that.
Now let's talk the other side. Chicago Bears. And, they were 4-2, and they had a chance to go to 5-2. And, hey, put their flag out there for the NFC North potentially, and they're not out of the NFC North by any means. But Doc, the story was the last couple of weeks, DeAndre Swift and the defense was pretty much the carriers of the team. And I know Caleb made plays here and there, but it was really Swift in the defense. And this week, he averages 4 yards carry, but you don't run him enough, don't let him touch ball enough. Caleb, stat-wise, okay, the interception, but no touchdowns, not that bad. But the story was off-script plays. He's missing easy throws. Are the Bears too much of a wavy team, too much of a roller coaster team to get that firm setting on them where they could be a playoff contender, a playoff team this year?
This year, yes. Honestly, and the Bears have been – this is one of the most under-talked stories around the NFL this year, is how banged up the Bears have been on defense. Jared hopefully is coming back next week. Jalen Johnson obviously is out probably for the rest of the year. He underwent surgery in September. We've been missing multiple cornerbacks every single week, linebackers, guys on the defensive line. I mean, you name it. This is one of the, as bad as it's been for the Niners, I mean, the Bears are right up there with them. Not as bad as the Niners, I'll give them that. Not as bad as the Niners, but they are definitely in the conversation. The Bears have been turnover machines. A turnover machine the last 4 weeks, aside from the Ravens game. I think it was 15 turnovers in 4 games, something like that. So you take those away, though. You look at the Bears without digging too deep in their defense. Oh, my God, this defense is amazing because they got turnovers. We're not getting pressure on the quarterback. We're still giving up too many yards. Aside from the Commanders game, our rush defense is fucking atrocious. Our pass defense is not good. We made Huntley look like a goddamn all-pro quarterback out there this weekend. All right, and again, that goes back to the missing cornerbacks. Coverage is bad. The turnovers have really saved us. The problem that I think came into this, we've had one of the hottest running backs in the league the last couple of weeks, and we completely went away from hey, here's what's working. let's rewrite the game plan and only give DeAndre Swift 4 or 5 touches in the first half. And that's where the problem is. If you're coming out running play action every single play, if you're not handing the ball off, eventually play action is going to be play action and your pass commitment. So we went away from what we knew was working, what's been successful, even in games that still didn't look good, but we had playmakers that were opening up the passing game or opening up the run game or doing whatever. The other thing is I got to start looking at film for these receivers downfield because I got a lot of question marks on these guys that are apparently covered 99% of the play until they get to the sideline. And I'm starting to wonder if Caleb is just trying to wait until they can get a toe drag on the sideline because I've seen some plays where they're open and it's not making sense why we're not hitting them. And that goes back to the whole Justin Fields syndrome, the offensive line and dropping the head, focusing on the run. I have noticed that Caleb is looking upfield a hell of a lot better than Justin Fields ever did. It's a combination for me, what I'm seeing, of going away from the game plan that we know works and executing the run with the pass. And it's also, I'm getting this weird, like, Caleb has an open guy, but feels like he's got to wait until the last second to prove something and try to fire 100-mile-an-hour football in there versus hitting the guy when he's open. I've seen enough plays where a guy is open and we're not finding him.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find some coordinated cameras to see multiple angles that are like, okay, this guy's open here. Where's Caleb looking? What's going on? Because I've seen Caleb getting chased out of the pocket. He's looking at the field. He's not even paying attention to the guy behind him, and he makes an open play, and it makes me happy. But then I've got some other times where he seems to be doing the same thing, but we got guys wide open downfield 20 yards, and we're like, we could mail that guy something.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like I said, obviously it's a big topic with Ben Johnson there and whatnot. We're going to see the development of Caleb, I think, throughout the year. We're going to see how it looks like going to year 2 with Ben Johnson next year going forward. Doc, let's talk the Los Angeles Chargers.
I want to say one last thing. It's going to get there, but I think it is that extensive Ben Johnson offense.
Yeah.
So when you did it with Jared Goff, he had his learning pains in his first year. And they did a really good comparison of that between Goff and Caleb Williams against the Ravens or against the Commanders. I forget which one. I think it might have been against the Commanders. And there was a lot of growing pains with Goff in the first year. And I expect that with Caleb Williams. This is also for the most part, a pretty young team in the NFL as far as who your starters are. Between Rome, you got Luther Burden, Monungai in the backfield. A lot of the offensive line, aside from Tooney, obviously, is newer pieces, and not to mention coming together as a chemistry. But I'm not going to chalk this season up as a loss. I mean, obviously, we don't want to see the Ravens game become the start of a 10-game losing streak like last season. But it's what I've said from the start, the growth, the steps that we take, how we continue to mature as a team and get better. Next year is my season where I'm calling it on Ben Johnson and this team and where we're going.
Sounds good, Doc. Let's talk the Los Angeles Chargers and a team, like you said, been up and down this year. Joe Alt's finally back. You know, that showed very, very key to have him back. Herbert was 18 of 25, 227, 3 touchdowns reception. But you have Vidal going off. I know Marion Hampton's not there. Herbert's actually moving again. And then you have this guy from Syracuse University, Andre Gatson II, who is playing pretty good football the last 3 weeks, 5th-round pick out of this year. Doc, is Gatson emerging and Joe Alt being there going to change his life for the Chargers back on offense? Defense is still solid. Is the offense going to be woken up? Now, Lad McConkey's also back. There's been Lad games the last few weeks. I know QJ hasn't had no targets last week, but Lad is being Lad again. Keenan Allen's still doing Keenan Allen things. I think QJ will be fine, but is everything opening up now for the Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah, QJ will be fine. Jim Harbaugh has made it clear that QJ is not out of the offense. He is trying very hard to get him to the point of what the Chargers expected him to be when they drafted him. We've seen the potential. He's catching the ball a hell of a lot better than this year than he ever has. He actually looks like he took the bricks off his hand and he actually put some sticky on his gloves. So very happy to see that. Vidal played a hell of a game. Honestly, as far as Gadsden go, this is a situation of not trying to force the ball to a Lad McConkey, a Keenan Allen, a Quentin Johnson, hit the open man. And that's where all of the credit goes to Justin Herbert. This is what we talked about. What was it with the Eagles or the Chiefs or whatever? Fuck the game plan or, the depth chart and our star, like same thing with A.J. Brown. Hit the open guy. If you're winning football games at the end of the day, that's what matters. Do you care, Mark, as a Falcons fan, do you give a shit if Drake London catches 200 yards a game, or do you give a shit if the Falcons win?
I care if the Falcons win and they look good. I mean, if it's a Drake
London, I don't give a shit if it looks good.
Well, I mean,
the Bears in 05-06 went to the Super Bowl and some super ugly shit that the defense did all the work against Dennis Green and the fucking Cardinals, okay?
I'll take a win at any means, but what I would like to see is a confident win. Like, hey, man, like my offense looks competent. But if it's Drake London this week, if it's Kyle Pitts this week, hell, it could be Tyler Algier outperforming Bijan. As long as I'm seeing consistency with the offense, everyone's going to get theirs at times. It's not always designed to be. It's not like Jamar Chase and the Bengals where Jamar Chase gets fucking 19 targets and everyone else combined is probably at 19 targets. So it's not. I don't.
Jamar Chase.
No, he's a dog.
My fantasy team is loving those catches and targets.
That's what I'm saying. So I want balance throughout the team. I want everyone to be a key member of this offense. This Chargers offense, though, Joe Alt being back, it shows that Herbert can get a little more time passing. Vidal looks good with him now, and then you have this tight end Gatson. Man, he was good at Syracuse 2 of the years he was healthy. The other years he just didn't play many games due to injury. So they have a tight end. The Chargers have not used tight ends that much, like a consistent one the last few years. Now you have a consistent tight end who's versatile. He can move. He can catch. That opens up Ladd. That opens up Keenan Allen. That opens up QJ to go over the top. So I believe the Chargers are still a playoff team. I'm not sold on them to win the AFC West because, Doc, the Denver Broncos, that's who I still think are the AFC West favorites. The last 5 quarters, this is the offense. And I'm going to say it from Dennis Green. This is who the Denver Broncos, who we thought they were. This is who they are. They are a good offensive team. Bo Nix is playing good now. The run game is looking good. R.J. Harvey's involved. J.K. Dobbins involved. Sutton involved. Evan Ingram, they're throwing to a lot more. I get it. Pat Surtain's hurt. It's going to be big for the defensive secondary to get it going for them. But the Denver Broncos are the team I still believe in to win this AFC West. They look good. Bo Nix looks confident again. It took that fourth quarter against the Giants to wake his ass up, and here they are. I get it was against the Cowboys, but they still dropped big points and big yards and big offense. So I have the Broncos still. I still have them.
Here's my problem with the AFC West. Across the entire division, okay, let me see here. Across the entire division, minus the Raiders.
Yeah,
minus the Raiders. This is probably one of the most inconsistent divisions in all football. Arguably one of the most competitive and one of the top divisions in football, but also one of the most inconsistent this season.
It's who's going to win, yeah. You don't know who's
you know what I'm saying? Like, we saw how the Chiefs started, how they're playing now. We've had the inconsistency with the Broncos. The Chargers, we've talked about the overhype. I mean, all 3 of these teams, we've talked about overhype and the problems and everything else. And as much credit as I want to give to Bo Nix and the Broncos, shout out to the defense for playing well against Dak Prescott, because that's actually a huge move, especially with CeeDee Lamb back. But the Browns did it against, like you said, the Cowboys defense. Last week's comeback was against the Giants. And honestly, the game should have been over on that last Giants possession, because that should not have been I don't remember what the exact play was, but I remember that the Giants got bailed on a play. I think it was pass interference or something.
But as bad as you mentioned the Chiefs and Chargers, but as bad as as inconsistent as the Broncos were, they're still 6-2. Drake, man, we're going to talk about him, but Bo Nix, 8th in passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I'll take a 3-to-1 ratio this early in the season. He's getting better. I mean, he's up there still in the top 8 with the quarterbacks, and he's just now getting better. So you got Bo Nix on a slow start, and now he's woken up. You have the run game.
Listen,
I don't know, man.
I want to back you up on that. They beat the Titans week 1. Lost to the Colts, hottest team in the NFL.
And people said that was a close game too, and they gave that game away. So they could easily be 7-1. So and it goes. I understand they lost, but
but look at the rest. Listen, look at the rest of their lineup. Lost to the Chargers. All right, that's one of those divisional games. It's tough.
Game they blew.
Beat the Burrow-less Bengals. They beat the Eagles. I'll give them that. Huge win for them against the Eagles. They beat the Jets 13-11, mind you.
It was a bad game. I agree. It was a bad game.
There's also a London or Brazil game, so I don't put or Ireland. Was it Ireland? Was that the
London.
Ireland one?
That was London.
London. Okay. Come back against the Giants. Not impressed, and they beat the Cowboys. So
Well, they played a good defense this week, so we'll see. They play Houston.
And that's what I want to see. So Burrow, and this is the perfect time to do it because Bo Nix is coming in here and he's finding his groove. He's building that momentum, and this is where you come in against a good defense and continue to make those strides and come together. But we've also seen some. I mean, Mims has dropped. Was it Mims or Franklin? There have been some really easy drops in the receiver core this year. The good thing that they have going for him is J.K. Dobbins is going off for this team.
Harvey looked good last week.
Harvey looked real good last week. So you got a great tandem in the backfield. This is one of those where you've built the momentum over the last couple of weeks and not just winning games, but actually playing like you deserve to be in the NFL this year. So let's see how that translates next week and if we can keep that momentum going and start to show that consistency.
All right, Doc, let's talk. We were going to talk the game. We're not talk Houston, but let's talk the Falcons Niners because very similar situation this week, right? I understand both they're both playing the backup quarterbacks. Penix was out. Brock Purdy's been out. Drake London's out. The Niners have all these injuries, but what the hell kind of game plan were the Niners and Falcons doing? Not using Christian McCaffrey, not using Bijan Robinson. What the hell is Zach Robinson and Kyle Shanahan thinking? Not using your two best players.
Honestly, I didn't watch much of the Dolphins-Falcons game.
You didn't watch much.
What I was watching on the Niners-Texans, it seemed like the Niners kind of got down early and quickly were trying to go to the pass and try to force shit. Again, this goes back to going against a game plan that works. I saw some passes from Mac Jones that were like he was trying to thread the needle between a couple of Texan defenders. I saw one in particular try to force a Christian McCaffrey, but then I got another one. He did end up completing this pass downfield. I think it was to Bourne. I don't remember. But it was one where you had McCaffrey completely. Nobody was within 10 yards of him, sneaking off the left side on a drag route. I can't fault that play because it ended up working out, but that was just one of the many examples I've seen of you're trying to force shit instead of going with what works.
Well, the thing and I understand they tried getting him 6 catches, and 3 of them were catches, but the fact is he touched the ball 11 times. Bijan Robinson, Atlanta Falcons running back, my running back, only touched the ball 12 times. He was 3 of 3 on his catches, but touched the balls 12 times. Kirk missed him a lot underneath, by the way. He actually had some plays where he was going up the side like you were just mentioning with McCaffrey, same thing. So I believe that's big now. The Falcons got their ass kicked. So, there's a lot more issues at hand than just not using Bijan. But your best player, and we just talked about taking wins as they come, but when you don't win and you get blown out, it's a prime example of maybe you should use your fucking best player once in a while. Bijan, when everyone's hurt, you use Bijan Robinson. That's just the way it goes. You get involved in pass game. You get involved in the run game. Create some space. Do something. Especially for Kirk Cousins and played all year long pretty much besides the mop-up time in Carolina. So, I don't know. And then the Shanahan, same thing. Poor game plan for these two teams. They both needed these wins. Falcons need to keep up with the Bucs, and the Niners can't keep falling back of the Rams and Seahawks. So very poor game plan for two offensive-minded play callers.
Yeah, no, we've talked about this before. Looking at the numbers, this kind of came off as like Bijan had a slow start and they just completely abandoned the run game instead of trying to, possibly use play action or the pass to open the run game, because it works both ways.
Yeah.
It almost seems like Bijan got off to a slow start. I mean, his long for the day was 7, 9. I mean, the whole team 17 of 45, 2.6. Yeah, and it was tough, but it's like you punish the guy for it instead of get back on the horse and do what we know you can do.
He had a fumble too, which was bad, but no,
he had 3 receptions, 23 yards, like you said, 12 touch. I mean, we've talked about it before, Mark. We've talked about this offense wants to be successful. First of all, You need Kirk Cousins to not be your starting quarterback for the game.
And I really do think, I'm not saying we win the game, but I really believe if Michael Penix is in that game, even without Drake London,
it's a much different game.
Yeah,
it's a much different game.
There was throws that Kirk was missing, and I understand Penix has been weird, but I believe they've handcuffed him at times. I think when they actually let him throw the ball, I think he has moments where he looks good. I believe some of those throws that Kirk made that he missed, I believe Penix can make. And then maybe it's not a blowout, and maybe it swings differently. We'll never know. But I just believe Kirk Cousins isn't the answer. And then the play calling was bad. It is what it is. It's unfortunate.
No, 100% is different. But this is, like I said, you had 17 on the ground. All right. The Dolphins had 37. They abandoned the run game far too early. And let me see. What was the –
That was a problem with us. We can't stop the run lately. Yeah, it's really –
that's the thing. At halftime, it was only 17-3. Like, why are we bailing on the run game?
Yeah,
it was 7-0 after the first. Yeah, but that's the same shit that I've been saying about the Bears. And then you start running the bullshit like DJ Moore in the backfield again. Like, stop reinventing the wheel. Give the ball to Bijan. Let him do what he does. If Bijan gets you one 60-yard rush a game for a touchdown, it can completely change the landscape and the momentum for the entire game.
It can. Doc, let's move off to what's supposed to be my favorite game of the week, the Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers facing his former team, the Green Bay Packers, and what looked like a game the Packers were maybe going to lose. They had a slow start in the first half. But Tucker Kraft and Jordan Love breaks out, and Aaron Rodgers and the offense goes flat, and the defense looks like shit still for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Was this more about the Steelers potentially collapsing down the road, or is this more about the Packers building that momentum, which now they are first place in the NFC, moving forward?
No, I think that this is just further evidence that Aaron Rodgers is done. Hang it up, dude.
Defense is bad, by the way, though. The defense sucks.
It is, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. This is a great defense, and they've been struggling quite a bit this year. But you've got a quarterback trying to prove that he's Tom Brady, and he's clearly not. Not hitting your open guys. What was his fun? I'm not going to lie. I ended up getting pretty toasted on Sunday night.
24-36 for 219, 2 touchdowns. But
I went to bed far before this game was over.
Well, Tucker Kraft had a great game. I mean,
Tucker Kraft had a monster game.
Jordan Love I'm not a big Love fan, but hey, I'll give him flowers. He was fantastic. The Packers, though, I don't know what they want to do with Jacobs. Like, he gets his touchdown.
36 pass attempts. And you got 70 your star receiver in DK Metcalf.
They don't know how to use him.
Don't tell me it's because he ain't getting open.
No, I don't think they know how to use. Like,
I don't know if
it's Rodgers, if it's the play calling, if it's a mixture of both. It just doesn't seem like DK. Like, I get it, he gets his 4 to 5 catches a game, and I don't believe it. I should believe he should be getting 6 to 8 catches a game. That 4 to 5 is low. He gets the yards and he'll get a touchdown, but it's just, I just feel like the Steelers are like this. It's just too much waves. It's just too much that little peak, and then it goes back low. It's so bad. I don't know. But Jake thought they were going to collapse starting with this game. So maybe the Steelers, looking at their schedule, it's pretty tough. And this, like I said, big names on the defense, but they suck this year.
I mean, the Steelers are that team, though, that find a way to win. It's like you said, there's weapons on this team, and they don't know how to use them.
They don't.
There's so many things wrong, and it's a combination. Honestly, it's an even mixture for me. It's an even 50-50 if you don't know how to use the weapons that you got, like DK, and you're also relying on Russell 2.0 here in Pittsburgh. It's not a winning combination. I mean, even the one I was a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember who they were playing. But he had DK, I think it was somebody wide open up the sideline and lofted up a rainbow.
Oh, no, that was against the Bengals. That was Bengals on Thursday night. He overthrew DK, and I was on the phone with Riz, and I'm like, what the fuck is Aaron Rodgers doing?
But you watched the play, and it wasn't any crazy pressure where he had to get it off last second.
No.
Like, he had every opportunity in the world to make the play happen and couldn't do it. And it's like he was just like, yeah, fuck it, here we go.
Well, arm pump that shit.
And
it was
you
early.
You can't miss plays like that.
It was early in the down, too, like second down. I mean, it wasn't even like It was like it was 3rd down and 20. And, okay, if they're on 20, I understand. Just throw it deep, and if you catch it, you catch it. If they intercept it, okay, it's a cool punt. It just goes against my stat sheet. But 2nd down and manageable, you're throwing the ball 5-6 yards over DK Metcalf, which is very hard to do over his head.
Wide open, mind you. Wide open.
Yeah, the safety only intercepted because the safety was playing prevent, really. I mean, he had the corner beat. So,
honestly, one of the worst plays.
Oh, I agree.
I've seen this season, and easily one of the worst plays I've ever seen in Aaron Rodgers' career.
Yeah, no, that's not Aaron Rodgers like, but shout out to the Packers though, man. They're clicking. They're 5-1-1 because that tie, that 5 wins. They are in first place due to the winning percentage with less wins, and less losses. So hey, shout out to the Packers. We talked about them in the NFC.
Winning percentage is wins versus total games. That doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah, I understand. We'll figure it out. But Doc, we talked top NFC teams. Let's talk the AFC teams. You have the Colts, you have the Patriots, you have the Broncos, the Bills, the Chargers, Chiefs. Who's the king of the AFC? Is it really the Colts? Because I believe they are the most complete team at this moment in the season. At this moment.
The shitty thing is, as good as they're playing, they're probably one of the teams I've watched the least this year. Not out of any particular whatever. It's just the timing and the games. It's probably honestly got to do mostly with I don't have anybody on fantasy except for Tyler Warren in one league. And they haven't really played anybody that I have on fantasy. So that's probably really what's driving it. Because really when I'm watching football on Sunday, I got the Bears going usually on my phone because I can watch that close up in one screen. And then I got the red zone on the big TV or red zone in 3 games in the big TV. So I can't really, on paper, what I'm seeing and what they're doing this year, they seem like the most complete team, but
it's crazy to say too, because Daniel Jones is the quarterback and we've dogged him for so many years, but hey, he's for right now. For right now through 8 weeks.
And that's the thing is they don't have dog receivers in Indianapolis.
I think the receivers, I've always liked Pittman. I know Pittman's.
I like him, but they don't have superstars.
No, I know. Pierce is playing good. Downs is playing good. Yeah, Warren. By the way, we're always going to say it, Doc. Bears should have drafted him, but he is playing elite. The offensive line looks great again. Jonathan Taylor is an MVP level player. I think he's in my top 4 between him, Drake May, Mahomes, and Stafford. He's in that list. Now it's going to be hard because it's quarterback award, but he is balling right now. And then, you have the Patriots. Hey, good job, man. Good job, Mike Vrabel. Good job, Josh McDaniels. 6-2, man. I said they were going to be competitive. I didn't know they're going to be. I thought I had 8 or 9 wins, maybe fighting for a spot, but they're challenging the Bills for the AFC. You have the Bills. Josh Cook 200+ yards on the ground. He'd be an MVP candidate if he had touchdowns. That's just one thing. He's actually outperforming Josh, or he's outperforming him yards per carry than John Taylor, but he doesn't have the touchdowns. He doesn't have the volume to the high degree as him. But James Cook's playing good. Josh Allen, they even had to use him at a high level yet. So they're saving Josh Allen. And then you have the Chiefs and Broncos. AFC, man, it swings a lot of ways right now. But Colts, I think they're on top. I think they are right now. They're not my Super Bowl team, but they're on top.
No, 100%. Honestly, it's really exciting to watch between Denver, Indy, and New England. Buffalo. The problem with Buffalo, I hate to beat a dead horse, but the consistency. The problem with Buffalo is they can come out and lose really easy games.
They do.
That's Buffalo is probably, like we said. We ask if the Colts are the most complete team right now. Buffalo is probably the most incomplete successful team in the NFL.
Yeah, they are. And they've also had Auburn.
Aside from Josh Allen, this is easily Cook's best year of his career so far, and he's been steadily getting better. And the issue that I've always had with James Cook is he's either 100 yards or he's 25 yards in a game. And this year he's been a lot more consistent. They're getting him involved a lot more, which I like. They don't have a true number 1 receiver. The defense has a lot of holes. When you talk about a team and how the fuck are they here, the Buffalo Bills are the definition of that.
Defense played good.
That's a Jeopardy question. How is this team where they are in the NFL? Trebek, it's the Buffalo Bills. Correct.
Defense played good this week against the Panthers. I understand it's the Panthers, but hey, they played great.
Too much
I know, but that was the best defense they've had all year. And you had AFC's pretty good. And like I mentioned to Luke and Chris and them last week, it's really weird how the universe works, where the top 2 teams are the New England Patriots, Indianapolis Colts, a la Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, a la now Daniel Jones, Drake May. Does that become the new future rivalry? Do the Colts and Patriots become the top two dogs again in the AFC 15 years later, 20 years later, whatever the case may be? It's very interesting how that is swinging back that way. We'll see how long it goes forward, though. Obviously, it's a lot of parity this year. So very interesting, though, the AFC.
It's tough to say because is Jones on a 1-year contract? He's going to prove a deal?
He's on a prove a deal, and I think based on the way he's playing, I think what they do is they give him a Baker and Sam Darnold style contract. You give him like a 2 or 3 year contract,
right?
Or maybe like $100 million, and then that's fine. They can get out of it very easy.
Sam Darnold's also on a prove a deal, so Seattle may be looking for a quarterback.
And Darnold, they signed him for 3 years, but they can get off him after 1 year. So they're in that business where they keep him still, and they're probably gonna keep him the way he's playing.
Las Vegas is going to be looking for a quarterback. Miami might be looking for a quarterback real soon. The Jets are clearly going to be needing a quarterback.
I don't think the Colts let him go. And if I'm Daniel Jones, looking at the Colts,
it's not that easy. If you're on a prove-it deal, if a team comes in and offers you more, that's why Sam Darnold left.
Well, the Vikings also were moving on.
Yeah, well, the writing was on the wall. Yeah, writing was on the wall.
There's no writing on the wall for the Colts. If there's just not the guy, Riley Leonard,
you find the right guy in the draft.
By the way, I was right. We saw 3 quarterbacks this year, just not the way I said it was going to be done. All 3 QBs have played now for the Colts because of mop-up time. But we saw AR. We have seen now Riley Leonard. But I was right, but not the right reason. But, Doc, let's go to the winners of the week. I'm going to start us off here. My biggest winner of the week is the Baltimore Ravens. I said it when we talked about them. The fact that no, it's not because it's not the fact that they beat you guys. It's the fact that
they're do it.
Well, it's the fact that they're 1-5. Their season's kind of on thin ice. You survived this week without Lamar Jackson. The defense is getting better. Now you're getting Lamar Jackson back. The Bengals lost and the Pittsburgh Steelers lost. Everything you needed to happen happened. The 2 teams ahead of you lost, and you won without your quarterback. Now you get them back. Now you make that run for the playoffs, the AFC North. You make that push. It can be done. The Ravens are the biggest winners of this week because of everything going forward for them. It looks like it might be smooth sailing with a little bit of hard games here and there, but I believe the Ravens are the biggest winners this week.
Yeah, I'm going to take a completely different route here. My winner of the week is going to go to Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets.
Yeah, shout out.
Not only because it is the first win for Aaron Glenn, congratulations to him, but also because the Jets were down. The Jets were down and fought back.
Yes, they did.
They didn't quit. They stayed in it. They battled. They did. I mean, if I'm Aaron Glenn and I'm a coach, that's how you know you got the locker room, because you guys ain't quit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, aside from your quarterback is crying in the closet, that's kind of weird. On the floor, mind you, that was
like
listen,
that.
I'm not saying don't be vulnerable, okay, but there's some things you just shouldn't share, and that's one of those moments. Okay, that was super fucking weird. I watched that on Sleeper, that interview, that presser. That was one of the weirdest things I ever seen in my life. But no, huge props to the Jets. Missing Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall had a hell of a game. Justin Fields with the nonsense and coming back and found his faith, and had a really good cry to build that momentum and that confidence. So good for him, but really just happy for Aaron Glenn. You never want to be that coach, because honestly, my thought going into it was he's not going to make it through the end of the first year. I mean, I know he will. I know he'll make it through the end of the first year. It does you no good to fire a rookie head coach.
No, you got
head coach in the season, but I didn't think he was going to make it past the first year. But to see him get the win, his excitement at the end of the game, you could tell how genuine that was and how bad the team wanted it for him. They weren't winning it for themselves. They wanted to get Glenn in the win column. So my winners of the week are the New York Jets. Congratulations.
And the fact that they did it right down the road from Nick Mangold grew up, the fact that Nick Mangold passed away.
Yes.
So the fact that he passed away this weekend, and like I said, down the road from his hometown, he's from the Cincinnati area, Centerville, Ohio. Shout out to the Jets, like you said, Doc. Losers of the week, and I'm going to say it, my team is the biggest loser of the week. You have a tough schedule coming up with the Colts and the Patriots. Well, Patriots, then Colts. You're 3-3. You have a chance to go to 4-3. You're playing the Miami Dolphins. I don't give a shit if Michael Penix out or not. Kirk is a veteran quarterback. He should know how to play football by now. You look terrible. The play calling sucked. You get blown out. that little saying that walk in your trap, take over your trap. That's what Mike McDaniel and Tua did. We made the Miami Dolphins look like the 2007 New England Patriots, and they made us look like the 2025 Miami Dolphins. So the fact that they did that, the fact
They
that
made y'all look like the Super Bowl Falcons.
the fact that they cleared us out of our fucking building and the Dolphins are cheering, it's becoming, and by the way, there's a lot more Falcons fans this year, this game than the Dolphins, but by the end of the game, it didn't sound like that. I said for pretty much the last minute and a half, I went to the team store. So, no, I mean, we're the biggest losers of the week, so it sucks to say. I don't think we make the playoffs this year.
That's funny. You and I are on the same mindset. There's a lot of losers that a lot of losers of the week that I want to give. That I'm going to give some honorable mentions here. But unfortunately, they all have scapegoats, right? Vikings being the first one, but Carson Wentz was clearly banged up in his non-throwing arm.
O-line's banged up too.
And he had pressure. He had pressure all fucking night. So poor guy for him.
And he was still standing in there trying, man. Like, I give him a shout out there.
I want to say the Bengals because you lost to my winners of the week, but at the same time, you are one of the worst defenses in the NFL. I don't need to go into the Falcons. You already did that. I want to say the 49ers because the Texans have just looked atrocious this year, but they're so banged up. I want to say – I don't even want to say the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. I want to say the Steelers because I was really rooting for Aaron Rodgers, especially as a fan of the NFC North and the Bears. And I wanted to also say the Commanders because everybody's back except for your main piece in Jaden Daniels. But the biggest loser of the week is going to be the Bears for me, even with the injuries. 4 big injuries that I can talk about right off the rip on the defense. How we detracted from success in our successful game plan over the last few weeks, and how we kind of tried to come in here like, oh, we're on a 4-game winning streak, and we can just whip it out and run it all over you. Well, actually, not run it all over you because we didn't run the ball at all, in my opinion, in that game. The bullshit. What worked, we went back to the bullshit of DJ Moore in the backfield. We're running Monungai more than we needed to. And Swift didn't even have a bad game.
No, just wasn't having volume.
He averaged over 4 yards a carry. Not by much, but it was over 4 yards a carry. But
it's still good.
Yeah, the play calling, the execution, the fact of what Huntley looked like against our defense. I'm going to be honest. I don't give a shit the injuries that we had. You cannot come out and let a Huntley look like he did against you, right? The Chiefs did in the first quarter, and then they quickly shut that shit down and were like, hold up, wait a minute, we're the Chiefs. We can't do this. The Bears should have done the same thing, even if we do got some secondary, some second string on the secondary. The Bears came out flat, looked like the Bears of last year. Really has me worried that we're going into another 10-game losing streak, but we'll see what happens going forward. The Bears are my losers of the week.
Which I hate to say, Doc. I said to you last time, 4-2 last year. You went on a bad losing streak. I hope you guys don't. For your sake, I hope you don't. I hope for my team, for my sake, I hope my team doesn't. By the way, I shout out Robert Alford. I met him at the game before the stadium. Outside the stadium, he was the one that we had the picks. He had the pick 6 on Tom Brady in the Super Bowl that we blew. So got to meet him in front of the stadium. He was pretty cool dude, Bo. Pretty cool dude.
The worst part about it was we were game planning for Lamar all week, which I'm not even upset about what happened with the injury designation because Huntley came out and ran the same exact way.
He's the same style quarterback.
Yeah. So we prepared for Lamar. We got the same shit. Now, if we prepared for Cooper Rush, then I could be like, okay, we were looking for the wrong guy. Now, I want to say, yeah, shitty game. I came in because up until shortly before the game, Lamar was expected to play. And I came in expecting to lose. And hey, our rebound is next week against the Bengals. And now the way Joe Flacco is playing with Jamar Chase, I'm not confident about that. The only thing that I have going for me is Cam Scatterbo and Malik Neighbors are out for the Giants. So we will win against the Giants at Soldier Field. That will at least not that will keep a 10-game losing streak from happening. And then we also are going to have another crack at the J.J. McCarthy Vikings. It will not happen the way it did again. J.J. McCarthy's dog shit.
Well, Doc, I had a fun episode here. For That's Bad Football, we actually had a good talking show here. We do have some previews tomorrow night, going in pretty much the halfway point of the season. We're at week 9. We are there 9 weeks in out of the 18-week schedule. So, well, not every team plays 18 weeks, but 18-week schedule for the NFL. But, Doc, shout out to you, and hopefully we get more of the boys into Mars. We do our picks. Big swing in the overall standings against the money line and against the spread. So things are starting tightening up for the top in both categories, Doc. We will show that tomorrow. We will talk about it. That's TikTok for everyone's. I'm Mark Davis. This is All About the Balls podcast. Have a great one.
Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at the Sack House.